Hi there and welcome to another episode of This Week in F1. First up, lap times from day one of the pre-season shakedown in Spain. It's on and it sounds like a WWE event's name to me. I'm expecting The Rock and Stone Cold to storm out and rock bottom Toto any minute now. My little dream world aside, it's awesome to have the new cars out and on track. I obviously realize that these times mean diddly squat, but for interest's sake, I'm posting the times and laps done on day one in Spain so you can see how your favorite car is doing in the pre-season shakedown. No serious news of breakdowns or catastrophic failures to report or any teams being late for the shakedown. Nobody's looking at you, Williams, except maybe only 19 laps for Alfa Romeo, which lost some time in replacing a part in the morning. The current lap record in Catalonia, by the way, is by Danny Ricciardo in 2018 when he did a 1:18.441. No one has any idea, says Fernando Alonso. What is the reincarnation of Alain Prost talking about now? Hang in there, we'll get to it shortly. Alonso believes that it will be difficult for teams to copy each other early on this season. Why? Well, with the return of ground effects after a million or so years and the new regulations, teams may not be so quick to copy something they see on a competitor's car because, as Alonso put it, and I think no one has any idea of how the whole package works because the flow starts on the front wing and then it works differently for each of the cars. Ferrari, however, may disagree slightly as they may have already found some inspiration on some of the other cars. We will see if there are any interesting ideas we can adopt. On the F175, there is already a detail from a car that was presented in the past few days, and especially in this first phase we will all be watching each other very closely. Who said that? Mr. Binotto himself. Russel to beat Hamilton, says Schumacher. Okay, so Ralf Schumacher may be ever so slightly biased in the who is the greatest of all time question, but he apparently rates George the Jack Russell very highly against Mr. Lewis Hamilton. I'm convinced that internally it looks different and I already believe he can beat Lewis from the start, said Mick's uncle when speaking about Russell and Hamilton at the W13's launch. Also adding, I think George Russell is an exceptional talent. Whether he will develop like Lewis Hamilton did remains to be seen. We also have to remember Lewis is 37 years old and Mercedes have to think about the future. Horner still in Masi's corner. Yes, the controversy on last season's finishes still lingers in them. And the Max and Lewis fanboys and fans are still on about it. Masi has been removed as race director and now Mr. Spice Boy himself, Christian Horner, has lifted the lid on his opinion. It's a difficult one, Horner told TalkSport Breakfast. It's the FIA's business. I think it's harsh. I think he was in a very difficult position last year. Facts are facts though. With Masi removed and F1's own VAR system on the way, it's obvious that the FIA do not want a repeat of that last race. On social media, a large amount of fans have said that they were quitting the sport because of that race and that decision. My opinion, it's over. You can't get into a DeLorean with Doc and Marty and go fix it. Let it go, get on with the new season. Aston Martin says no thank you to Mercedes front suspension. For the Drive to Survive fans out there, Aston Martin used to be called Racing Point and they had a pink livery. They also copied the 2019 Mercedes exactly, enough so to be called the Pink Mercedes, and bought a Mercedes engine to run the thing. Times have changed though, and now James Bond's favorite team is doing it for themselves and have only bought limited parts from their German big brothers, including the rear suspension and gearbox. Why? According to Aston Martin Chief Technical Officer Andrew Green, it would have delayed the development of this season's car if they used more Mercedes parts. If we looked at the other areas, the front suspension is one. We could have gone front suspension, but then you are into trying to align the chassis into a suspension system that you get late. You have to wait for the suspension to be defined before defining your own chassis, and that just wasn't something we could consider, especially with the time frames we have, said Green. These are exciting times for the Green team, whose chief technical officer is color-coded to his team, Mr. Green. With a new everything seemingly being on Mr. Lawrence Stroll's minds, he marches his team towards world domination. Thought for the week: anyone who claims to be in the light but hates a brother or sister is still in the darkness. 1 John 2 verse 9. This pretty much says it all. Over to the memes. Enjoy it. Enjoy the rest of the preseason testing, and I hope your team does well. God bless and goodbye.